Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, is trying to get Greenland, the largest island in the world, by whatever means possible. Earlier, he tried to buy this island by offering money to the citizens and government. Later on, when it was rejected, he resorted to the possible use of US military, and now he has slapped tariff on the European allies who also did not support Trump's proposal of buying the Greenland because it is considered as the sovereign territory of Denmark, which also is a member of NATO. Now, the question is that can such tariff really impose pressure on the European Union to go ahead and agree to whatever Trump is demanding, or will European Union and the countries will unite together to try to discourage Trump from taking any aggressive action as far as the acquisition of Greenland is concerned? However, the biggest question is what is the reason why Trump or US itself is interested in the acquisition of Greenland? What is the importance of Greenland from both economic and strategic perspective, and how Europe has reacted after the Trump's decision to impose tariff on several of these countries? Let us try to decode the geopolitics behind the Trump's Greenland tumble. So first of all, if you look at the crisis itself, why this entire region is news? Because we know that for the first time in 2019, Trump basically came ahead in the press conference, stated that it is essential for United States of America to have control over Greenland, complete control over Greenland actually, so that American and global security interest can be protected. However, that time people laughed it off. Many of the leaders thought that Trump is just joking or he was not serious about it. But when he came to the second time as a president of the United States of America, he has made it clear that he is very serious as far as the control of US over Greenland is concerned. So he has said that those countries, especially European allies who are not supporting his bid of acquiring Greenland, tariff would be imposed on them. It is nothing but an example of pressure tactics that Trump has always used after coming in power, especially since January last year. We have seen the tariff being imposed on many countries. It does not matter whether you are ally of USA or whether you are the rival or competitor of USA. Everyone is being treated equally by Donald Trump as far as the imposition of tariff is concerned. And overall, this is nothing but a reflection of the geopolitical interest that countries are showing in the Arctic Ocean region. And this is also because of the effect of climate change, where the glaciers and ice sheets of Arctic are rapidly melting, allowing countries to use this as a major sea route or navigation route as such. Overall, this imposition of tariff and the difference in opinion as far as the Greenland is concerned, obviously it has escalated the tension as far as the US and Europe is concerned. Now, what exactly is the threat that Trump has given? So obviously he has stated that, first of all, the announcement came on January 17, where he stated that countries who are not favoring or who are not in favor of his view of acquiring Greenland by United States of America, they will be imposed, the tariff will be imposed on them, and this is a way of carrying out negotiation under economic pressure. And overall, it is seen for the first time that a kind of fracture is developing amongst the NATO allies, because we know that US is one of the strongest ally of NATO since World War II. This entire transatlantic partnership has prevailed and has seen a lot of ups and downs, but such kind of fracture we have never seen before as we are seeing in the Trump's presidency. So for the first time, we are seeing the president of US is using tactics beyond normal conventional diplomatic technique, and this is example of escalation here. This is also, many experts are arguing, is example of direct coercive strategy as far as the US is concerned. The obvious countries who are targeted by the Trump's tariff are those countries such as Denmark, which is having control over the island of Greenland. Then we have Sweden, then we have Norway and Finland. These countries are also collectively referred as the Scandinavian countries. Apart from that, the four major countries of Europe, mainly Western Europe, you can say, such as UK, France, Germany, and Netherlands, who are extremely vocal and have given strong support to the sovereignty of protecting the sovereignty of Denmark and protecting the we can say the desire of Greenland to remain in Europe, is something they also have been imposed with this tariff as such. If you look at the structure of tariff, Trump administration has stated that starting from February 1, 10% tariff will be imposed first, and if negotiation does not yield any result, if these countries do not change their way of thought, then from June 1st, 25% tariff will be imposed on them. It a kind of blanket tariff applies to all the exports that is being carried out by the European Union to the United States of America, and it is explicitly linked to the Greenland deal. Trump has clearly stated that imposition of tariff has to do with nothing else. No other matter is concerning here. under consideration here. It is solely about the steps, or we can say solely about the view that European countries has taken as far as the Greenland deal is concerned. So this is kind of unprecedented conditional tariff imposed on European Union by US, and this is for the first time we are seeing in the recent history. Now the question is that why US is so hell-bent under Trump administration to acquire and have control over Greenland? Why Greenland matter? And to some extent, the answer is hidden in the geography of Greenland. First of all, if we try to understand it from the diplomatic perspective, and if you look at the history of United States itself, Greenland is very close to North American continent. And as we know, as per the Monroe Doctrine of USA, the North American continent as well as the South American continent, entire Americas we can say, is considered as the sphere of influence by United States of America. So from that perspective also, US says that Greenland should be under the sphere of influence of US and they should have the final say and ultimate control over this island. But here economic interest also is clearly seen, because Greenland is rich in critical minerals. European Union has listed 24 critical minerals, and all these 24 critical minerals are found to some extent in the islands of Greenland. Not only that, it is also the area which is rich in rare earth resources, which are going to play a very critical role in the next generation technology, whether it is in the field of defense, medicine, or artificial intelligence, even electrical vehicle manufacturing and all that. Plus, if you try to understand from the location of Greenland, its location is very strategic in nature, because if you look this side to the south, you have USA, here you have Canada. So through Greenland, you can understand this is the shortest possible distance if you are trying to move from North America to North Europe as such. And thus, by having control over this Greenland, US believes that they can increase the overall security umbrella of early warning systems against the missile, especially considering the threat of Russia and China has increased in last couple of years. So US clearly believes that having control over Greenland will help secure its region, because its capability of predicting any missile uses or missile we can say launch against American soil can be detected early, and that is why it is also believed to play a very critical role as far as the logistic hub of US military is concerned. Now here if you look, one of the major term that keeps coming in news is GIUK gap, that is stand for Greenland, Iceland, United Kingdom gap as such. This basically refer to the gap that is a narrow sea passes between Greenland and Iceland is a country here, and then further to the south you have United Kingdom. So this is very narrow passageway. It is also referred as a choke point and very strategic juncture from the perspective of protecting the sea lines of communication as such. So GIUK gap is something that is currently controlled by countries such as Denmark, because they have control over Greenland, and United Kingdom as such. However, US also want to have a strong control in this particular area. Basically, they are interested in monitoring Russian movement, Russian ships movement, submarine movement, because in the recent year, Russia also has been developing the capability to send submarines to carry out surveillance and what you can call as reconnaissance in this particular area. Not only that, China also has unveiled polar silk route, and this particular policy of China clearly indicates that they are very much interested in using the Arctic sea route once the glaciers and ice sheets melt, and then it will allow the ships to move using the water body as such. So that is why it makes sense that US want to enjoy a greater extent of strategic depth as far as the Greenland is concerned. However, as far as Europe's collective response is concerned, all the European leaders, major European leaders, whether it is Ursula von der Leyen, who is the president of European Union, or it is the French president Emmanuel Macron, or even the president of Denmark, they have stated that they are president of, we can say, UK, Prime Minister of UK, as well as Dutch Prime Minister, all of them have stated they are standing in full solidarity with Denmark as such. And as the Denmark is the member of NATO, they have collective responsibility to protect the sovereign territory and integrity of Denmark as such. They have rejected that coercion, no matter whether by United States or Russia. Macron has clearly stated, French president, that no matter whether coercion is being exercised or done by US president or Russian president, it will not work in European Union. So whether it is Ukraine or whether it is Greenland, European Union will stand, France will stand, and they have stressed that NATO should not fracture, because the biggest beneficiary of this entire scuffle would be no one but President of Russia, that is Vladimir Putin. So joint diplomatic statement is released by European Union as well. However, since Trump has gone ahead and imposed tariff on the European Union, they have also carried out countermeasure. For example, there is discussion going on about the use of anti-coercion instrument. anti-coercion instrument was designed largely to threaten China and Russia, but has never been used by European Union. So if European Union uses it against United States of America, it would be very surprising, and also it would signal the break or fracture in the transatlantic alliance. So overall, anti-coercion instrument basically means that every kind of investment would be restricted if it is flowing from United States of America to the European Union. Not only that, all the American export entering the European market would face a greater extent of tariff or higher extent of tariff. So this is nothing but example of possible retaliatory tariff measures as such. Not only that, it is believed that European Union is also discussing and reading 93 billion euros of tariff package against the American goods, which will also threaten the economy of United States of America. The message here is given loud and clear by European countries that if such kind of tariff is actually imposed by US on European Union, because still it has to take into effect since after February 1. So in that case, European Union will have no other action, and in this war, or more specifically tariff war, European Union and America both will face difficulties and both will suffer from it. So overall, however, the possibility also is being shown by many diplomats that Donald Trump is soon coming to Davos to attend World Economic Forum Summit first time in last 6 years. So there will be possibility because all the European leaders would be present there as well. So diplomatic engagement can be one option, and still we have 18-20 days of time that can be used by the European Union and its leader. So the question is that what can happen next? Now we know that this entire situation is highly predictable in nature. No one would have believed 2 years back that European Union and US would start fighting with each other, and not only fighting because of some ideological issues or economic issues, financial issues, but over territorial control of the largest island, that is Greenland. And now if you try to understand, Trump is unpredictable without saying it goes as such, and he has also shown in the previous days that first he imposes tariff and then negotiation goes on, and then many times he withdraws it. And this we have seen in the case of China, where tariff imposed on China went as far as more than 100%, and that is when US also start to feel the pinch of retaliatory tariff by China, counter tariff by China, and then President Trump has softened his stance. Same kind of situation we can see evolving here as well. So he first announces tariff, later he delayed or withdraws them. Similar thing we can see. Plus, because the possibility of diplomatic engagement obviously is there due to the involvement of these leaders in the World Economic Forum Davos Summit, and there will be opportunity for face-to-face talks. So possibly this might lead to de-escalation of tensions, but overall again we can say the outcome is very uncertain, especially during the Trump's presidency. No one would have thought that Trump would abduct a sitting president from Venezuela, but he did that. So Arctic geopolitics definitely is intensifying, and no matter how the situation evolves, it will be very interesting to see that whether transatlantic partnership that has prevailed since last almost 90 to 100 years we can say is coming to an end, or is America itself is going to put a sledgehammer on its foot and is going to destroy the NATO, the collective security alliance that all these countries have enjoyed since many years. That's all for this particular video. If you like it, please hit the like button, share it with your aspirants, as well as subscribe to the channel for more such content. Thank you very much.